Here are a few habits you need to stop doing immediately. 1. Neglecting your mental health. Neglecting your mental health is like having a leaky faucet in the background. You know, that annoying drip that starts off as nothing but ends up driving you crazy over time. Yep, that's what happens when we ignore our mental well-being. At first, it might not seem like a big deal, but before you know it, you're knee-deep in a flood of emotions and struggles that are harder to contain than a burst dam. Just like a neglected garden turns into a sad, wilted mess, our inner landscape suffers when we don't give our mental health the love and care it deserves. Now, let's take a stroll into the realm of Stoicism. They've got this whole self-awareness thing down to a science. They remind us that our minds are basically the engine that keeps our whole existence chugging along. So, neglecting our mental health, it's like letting the engine of your life rust away. Not a good idea. As those wise Stoics would say, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Translation: taking care of your mental state is kind of a big deal. Stoicism teaches us to see challenges and setbacks as opportunities for growth. But if we let our mental health slide, we're basically slamming the door on growth and getting stuck in a rut of discontent. And here's a little Stoic gem for you. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor. In other words, it's not about chasing after some unattainable state of constant happiness. It's about finding that sweet spot of balance and contentment within yourself. 2. Spending money you don't have. Spending money you don't have is like trying to fill a bucket with a big old hole in it. No matter how much cash you throw in, it's just gonna keep leaking out. Sure, it's tempting to indulge in that instant gratification, but trust me, the aftermath of living beyond your means can feel like carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. Now, let's take a stroll into the world of Stoicism. Picture yourself approaching your spending habits with the calm, rational mindset of a true Stoic warrior. Just as they tackle life's challenges with grace and strategy, we too can apply that same wisdom to our wallets. When we splash cash we don't actually have, we're basically signing up for a stress-filled ride on the debt roller coaster. But the Stoics, oh, they gently remind us that real wealth isn't about flashy possessions. It's about finding contentment and feeling self-sufficient within our means. As the Stoic sages once said, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. So instead of chasing after every shiny thing that catches our eye, let's shift our focus to what we truly need. By flipping the script on our money mindset and honing in on our genuine needs, we can build a solid foundation of financial smarts and self-control. 3. Pretending to be cool on social media. Pretending to be cool on social media is like slapping on a fancy mask at a masquerade ball. Sure, it might catch everyone's eye at first glance, but deep down, it's not the real deal. In a world where everyone's busy painting a picture-perfect life with filters and carefully crafted posts, it's easy to get sucked into the trap of projecting an image that's more glossy magazine cover than authentic you. Imagine channeling your inner Stoic and embracing the power of authenticity. Staying true to yourself even when the pressure to fit in is sky high. Just as a true Stoic values inner virtue over flashy appearances, we too can find solace in genuine connections and self-acceptance, rather than chasing after likes and followers like they're going out of style. When we play pretend on social media, we're basically trading in our integrity and authenticity for a handful of digital high fives. But hold up, the Stoics would have a bone to pick with that. They'd remind us that our worth isn't measured in double taps, but in the strength of our character and our ability to stand tall in our own skin. As the Stoic saying goes, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. So instead of getting lost in the endless scroll, Let's focus on nurturing a mindset of self-acceptance and genuine connection. Because true fulfillment, it's found beyond the surface-level facade of social media perfection. 4. Reading negative news. Reading negative news is like stirring a pot of bitterness. Sure, it might add some flavor to your day, but in the end, it leaves a pretty sour taste in your mouth and heart. In a world where headlines often focus on the gloomier side of life, it's easy to find ourselves knee-deep in a swamp of negativity that can put a serious damper on our mood. Now, let's take a stroll into the world of Stoicism. Picture yourself channeling your inner Stoic and embracing the power of focusing on what's within your control. Just like a true Stoic would approach life's curveballs with a cool head and a rational mindset, we too can apply this philosophy to the news we choose to consume. When we dive headfirst into a pool of negative news, we're basically filling our minds with a cocktail of fear and anxiety. Not exactly the recipe for inner peace, right? But fear not. The Stoics would swoop in with their sage advice, reminding us to keep our cool in the face of chaos and to cultivate a mindset of resilience and balance. As the Stoic saying goes, the greater the difficulty, the more glory in surmounting it. So instead of drowning in a sea of bad news, why not train your brain to focus on the positive stuff? By flipping the script and tuning into uplifting news, you're giving your mind a workout in resilience and optimism. 5. Eating junk food. Chowing down on junk food is like pouring cheap sludge into your body's engine. Sure, it might give you a quick burst of energy, but in the grand scheme of things, it's like setting yourself up for a breakdown on the highway of life. With tempting treats and convenience foods lurking around every corner, it's no wonder we often find ourselves reaching for the sugary, salty, and processed snacks without a second thought. Imagine yourself channeling your inner Stoic and embracing the power of self-discipline. Just like a true Stoic would flex their self-control muscles in every aspect of life, we too can apply this philosophy to our eating habits, approaching each bite with mindfulness and moderation. When we make junk food a regular part of our diet, we're basically sending an open invitation to sluggishness, unwanted weight gain, and a whole host of health issues. But fear not. The Stoics swoop in with their timeless wisdom, reminding us to treat our bodies like the temples they are, because hey, our physical health is the VIP guest at the party of life, right? As the Stoic saying goes, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. So why not paint your soul with hues of vitality and strength by opting for wholesome, nutrient-rich foods? By giving your body the good stuff, you're not just fueling it, you're nurturing it, empowering yourself to live your best life, one nutritious bite at a time. 6. Trying to please everyone. Trying to please everyone is like attempting to juggle a dozen spinning plates. It's a real circus act that usually ends up in a chaotic mess. With opinions flying left and right and expectations as varied as flavors at an ice cream parlor, the never-ending quest to win everyone's approval can leave us feeling more drained than a smartphone battery on a gaming binge. Picture yourself as the star of your own Stoic show, where the principle of focusing on what's within your control takes center stage. Just like a true Stoic would put inner virtue and integrity above all else, we too can strut through life with confidence, knowing that trying to please every Tom, Dick, and Harry isn't our main gig. When we twist ourselves into pretzels to meet everyone's expectations, we risk losing sight of our own values and priorities. But fear not. The Stoics come swooping in with their timeless wisdom, reminding us that seeking approval from external sources is like chasing a mirage in the desert. It'll leave you parched and wandering in circles. As the Stoic saying goes, happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle: some things are within our control, and some things are not. By realizing that we can't control how others see us, we can break free from the hamster wheel of people-pleasing and focus on living a life that's true to who we are. 7. Watching too much Netflix. Diving into a Netflix marathon is like embarking on a journey into a binge-watching abyss. It's oh so easy to start, but a Herculean task to pull yourself out. And before you know it, the clock has struck midnight and your to-do list is still untouched. In a world where every show and movie is just a click away, it's tempting to cozy up on the couch and let the hours slip away in a haze of screen-induced bliss. Imagine yourself as the captain of your own ship, navigating the choppy waters of screen time with the stoic principle of moderation as your trusty compass. Just like a stoic would preach the gospel of balance and self-control in all endeavors, we too can steer our screen time ship with mindfulness and purpose. When we find ourselves lost in a Netflix-induced trance, we run the risk of squandering precious time that could be spent on more fulfilling pursuits. But fear not. The Stoics swoop in with their timeless wisdom, reminding us that allowing external distractions to gobble up our days is like letting a pesky seagull steal your picnic lunch. Not cool. As the Stoic saying goes, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. By choosing to dial back on the Netflix binge and indulging in activities that feed our minds and souls, we can strike a harmonious chord between entertainment and enrichment that leaves us feeling more satisfied than a pizza delivery on a Friday night. 8. Sleeping less than 7 hours per day. Imagine embarking on a marathon with one shoelace untied. Sure, you might sprint off the starting line with gusto, but sooner or later you're bound to trip and stumble, struggling to maintain your stride. In a world that glorifies hustle culture and productivity like it's going out of style, it's all too easy to fall into the trap of sacrificing precious sleep in the name of getting ahead. Picture yourself as the CEO of your own well-being, with the Stoic principle of self-care as your trusted advisor. Just as a Stoic would champion the importance of physical and mental health as vital ingredients for a balanced life, so too should we approach our sleep habits with mindfulness and reverence. When we skimp on sleep, we're basically shortchanging ourselves on brain power, mood stability, and overall health. But fear not, for the Stoics swoop in with their sage advice, reminding us that honoring our body's need for rest isn't just a luxury. It's a non-negotiable for a life well lived. As the Stoic saying goes, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. By choosing to make quality sleep a non-negotiable part of your routine and establishing healthy bedtime rituals, you're not just hitting the snooze button, you're investing in a reservoir of vitality and resilience that'll fuel your journey to greatness. 9. Spending time with mediocre people. Imagine nurturing a plant with soda. Sure, it might give the illusion of hydration, but deep down, it's not getting the nutrients it craves to flourish. In a world where our social circles weave the fabric of our lives, it's crucial to ponder the caliber of folks we hang out with and how they impact our growth and well-being. Picture yourself as the curator of your social garden, with the Stoic principle of surrounding yourself with virtuous folks as your green thumb guide. Just as a Stoic would seek out integrity and wisdom in their squad, so too should we be savvy about the vibe of the crew we roll with. When we chill with mediocre folks, we risk settling for a life that's as stimulating as watching paint dry. But fear not, for the Stoics swoop in with their wisdom, reminding us to seek out relationships that elevate our game and push us towards greatness. As the Stoic saying goes, the greater the difficulty, the more glory in surmounting it. By opting to invest our time in relationships that light a fire under us, we unlock a world of purpose and fulfillment that syncs up with our values and dreams. 10. Neglecting your physical health. Imagine expecting your car to run smoothly without ever changing the oil. Sure, it might chug along for a bit, but sooner or later, it's going to throw a fit. In a world that's constantly pulling us in a million directions, it's all too easy to shove our well-being to the back seat and focus on everything else, but taking care of our precious bodies. Now let's take a detour into Stoic town, where the principle of self-discipline reigns supreme. Picture yourself as the CEO of your physical health, with Stoic wisdom as your trusty sidekick. Just as a Stoic would preach balance and moderation in all endeavors, so too should we treat our bodies with the TLC they deserve. When we neglect our physical health, we're basically giving ourselves a one-way ticket to Dullsville, population, us. But fear not, for the Stoics swoop in with their sage advice, reminding us that treating our bodies like sacred temples is the ultimate power move. After all, a strong body equals a strong mind, ready to tackle whatever curveballs life throws our way. As the Stoic saying goes, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. By choosing to make exercise, nutrition, and self-care our ride-or-die crew, we're essentially supercharging our bodies with the fuel they need to thrive. 11. Drinking too much coffee. Imagine revving your engine in neutral. Sure, it might give you a little thrill, but you're not going anywhere fast. In a world where coffee practically runs through our veins, it's all too easy to rely on that Java jolt to kickstart our day and keep us chugging along. Picture yourself as the captain of your coffee ship, with Stoic wisdom as your trusty navigator. Just as a Stoic would preach balance and self-control in all things, so too should we approach our coffee fix with a hint of mindfulness and a dash of moderation. When we guzzle down coffee like it's going out of style, we're basically playing a game of energy roulette with our bodies. But fear not, for the Stoics swoop in with their timeless advice, reminding us that true vitality comes from within, not from a bottomless cup of joe. As the Stoic saying goes, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. By choosing to sip your coffee mindfully and tune into your body's natural rhythms, you're essentially fueling up on the good stuff: balance, vitality, and a dash of inner peace. 12. Taking advice from weak people. Imagine trying to navigate a maze with a compass that keeps sending you in circles. Sure, you might eventually stumble upon an exit, but it's not exactly the smoothest route to your destination. In a world brimming with advice and opinions, it's like swimming through a sea of chatter, desperately seeking a life raft of wisdom. Now let's set sail for Stoic Island, where seeking guidance from the wise is as essential as sunscreen on a sunny day. Picture yourself as the captain of your own ship, with Stoic principles as your trusty first mate. Just as a Stoic would treasure pearls of wisdom from those who embody strength and virtue, so too should we approach advice-seeking like a savvy sailor, steering clear of murky waters and seeking out the pearls amidst the waves. When we take advice from those whose sails are flapping in the wind, we're basically setting ourselves up for a rocky voyage. But fear not, for the Stoics sail to the rescue, reminding us to anchor our decisions in the wisdom of the wise. After all, why settle for a dinghy when you can ride the waves with the wisdom of a seasoned captain? As the Stoic saying goes, the best way to avenge yourself is to not be like that. By choosing to seek counsel from individuals who embody strength, wisdom, and integrity, you're essentially hoisting your sails towards clearer horizons and smoother seas. 13. Ingesting dumb amounts of sugar. Fueling your body with dumb amounts of sugar is like strapping on rocket boosters. Sure, you might get a quick blast off, but brace yourself for the crash landing that follows. In a world where sugary delights lurk around every corner, it's easy to dive headfirst into a candy-coated abyss without considering the consequences. Just as a Stoic would advocate for moderation in all things, including dessert, yes, even that extra scoop of ice cream, so too should we approach our sugar intake like a seasoned taste tester, savoring the sweetness in small, sensible doses. When we overdose on sugar, we're basically inviting chaos into our bodies. Think blood sugar roller coasters and energy nosedives. But fear not, for the Stoics are here to remind us that balance is the name of the game. It's all about wielding the power of self-discipline and saying no to that second or third slice of cake. As the Stoic saying goes, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. By choosing to nourish our bodies with wholesome, nutrient-rich foods and keeping our sugar intake in check, we're essentially mixing up a recipe for vitality and well-being that'll keep us flying high. 14. Getting drunk or doing drugs. Imagine stumbling through a foggy maze after a wild night out. You're lost, disoriented, and the path ahead might as well be hidden behind a thick curtain. In a world where instant gratification beckons from every corner, it's tempting to drown life's challenges in a cocktail or a puff of smoke. Just as a Stoic would champion self-control and moderation in all things, from dessert to debauchery, so too should we approach substances with a clear head and a steady hand. When we turn to alcohol or drugs as a temporary escape, we're essentially playing a dangerous game of hide and seek with our own emotions. The Stoics would wag their fingers at such escapades, reminding us that true strength comes from facing life's trials head-on, not drowning them in a bottle or a pill. As the Stoic saying goes, the best way to avenge yourself is to not be like that. By choosing clarity over cloudiness, sobriety over haze, we can cultivate a resilience that's as strong as oak, ready to weather any storm life throws our way. 15. Procrastinating everything. Imagine trying to juggle tasks with invisible hands. You might look like you're keeping it together, but in reality, everything is slipping through the cracks faster than you can say, oops. In a world where distractions lurk around every corner and to-do lists stretch to infinity, it's all too tempting to kick the can down the road and cozy up to the comfort of procrastination. Just as a Stoic would champion action over inaction, preferring the sweat of effort to the chill of inertia, so too should we approach our tasks with a hearty dose of gumption and grit. When we procrastinate, we're basically hitting the snooze button on our own progress, letting opportunities slip through our fingers like sand in an hourglass. The Stoics would shake their heads at such folly, urging us to seize the moment and march boldly towards our goals, one step at a time. As the Stoic saying goes, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. By rolling up our sleeves and diving headfirst into our tasks, we can bask in the warm glow of accomplishment and inch ever closer to our dreams.